Every time you hesitate, the cuffs tighten around your wrists. Every day you wait, the walls of your prison creep closer, brick by invisible brick. You call it caution. You call it patience. You call it planning. But the truth is simpler. Jean-Paul Sartre, one of the fathers of existentialism, wrote, "Man is nothing else but what he makes of himself." There is no destiny waiting for you, no secret map, no final permission slip. Every second you wait for life to change, every breath you hold back waiting for a sign, you are sentencing yourself. You are not stuck because the world has trapped you. You are stuck because you have refused to move. Sartre understood this brutal truth. Freedom is not a gift. It is a burden, one you cannot put down. The door has always been unlocked. The chains are made of hesitation. And you are the one pulling them tighter. You tell yourself a story, not because it is true, but because it is comfortable. The story goes like this. The right moment will come. One day, everything will feel clear. Someday, I'll know it's time to begin. But the right moment never comes. It never has. It never will. This story was stitched into you by a world afraid of its own freedom, by teachers who told you to wait your turn, by parents who warned you not to move too fast, by a culture that worships certainty and punishes those who dare to act without guarantees. You were taught to believe that caution is wisdom, that hesitation is prudence, that patience is virtue. But what they called patience was often fear, dressed up in nicer words. What they called wisdom was sometimes paralysis. What they called virtue was often submission to a life unlived. Sartre saw through these illusions. He shattered them with a single brutal insight. Existence precedes essence. You are not born with a meaning embedded in your bones. You are not a puzzle with a hidden solution waiting to be uncovered. You are a blank page, a raw, unformed existence thrown into a chaotic world. And it is your burden, your sacred burden, to write yourself into being. You exist first. Meaning must come second, but meaning will never come if you are waiting for it. Meaning is not found. Meaning is built, hammered out on the anvil of choice, carved into existence by blood, risk, failure, and creation. Every time you wait for certainty, you slip further from yourself. Every time you pause for permission, the current drags you farther from the life you could be living. There is no someday. There is no arrival of clarity. There is no external confirmation that will descend like a dove from heaven and tell you it's safe to begin. The only certainty is this: if you refuse to choose, life will choose for you. The roads not taken will crumble. The doors left unopened will rust shut. The dreams deferred will rot from the inside out, until even their ghosts abandon you. Hesitation is not neutral. It is a decision in disguise, a decision to stay caged, a decision to suffocate inside a shrinking shell. And the longer you wait, the heavier the shell becomes. The thicker the walls grow, the harder it becomes to remember you were ever free. Sartre taught that the burden of freedom is unbearable for many. So unbearable that they will invent fates, destinies, forces beyond their control, just to hide from it. You were not cursed by fate. You were not delayed by forces beyond you. You were not locked out of your life by some cosmic error. You are waiting because you are terrified to own your freedom. Because if you owned it, if you really accepted that no one is coming, then you would have no more excuses left. Just the trembling, terrifying, holy task of becoming. No right time, no certain signs, only you, standing alone at the crossroads. The pen still trembling in your hand, the page still blank, but still yours. What will you carve into the stone of your existence? What will you dare to create, not because it is safe, but because it is yours? The clock is not ticking toward some magical moment. It is ticking toward your own disappearance. The time was never coming. The time was always now. There is a reason you stay. There is a reason you hesitate at the threshold, even after the lie of perfect timing has been torn apart. Comfort. Comfort is the drug. Comfort is the warden. Comfort is the invisible prison that wraps around your soul and whispers, "It's better here, it's safer here, it's smaller, yes, but small things are easier to protect." You are not stupid, you are not lazy, you are not broken, you are simply human. And human beings will do almost anything to avoid the terror of real freedom. Sartre knew this too. He wrote that many will practice what he called bad faith, self-deception designed to escape the weight of freedom. It is easier to pretend you are trapped than to admit you are simply afraid. You make deals with yourself, deals stitched together from half-truths and survival instincts. Maybe if I wait just a little longer, things will get easier. Maybe if I hide a little longer, I won't have to fail. Maybe if I stay still enough, the fear will go away. But comfort is a liar. Comfort seduces you into a prison with warm blankets and soft walls. It tells you to stay small so you will not suffer. It tells you to stay hidden so you will not be hurt. What it does not tell you is the price you will pay. The price is your becoming. The price is the unlived life. The longer you sit in that comfortable cell, the less you remember the vastness that once called to you. The more the outside world seems dangerous, alien, unreachable. You begin to believe that you were made for the cell, that it is better to shrink and survive than to risk and burn. And slowly, the cell ceases to feel like a prison at all. It begins to feel like a home, a destiny, a truth, but it is none of these things. It is only a failure of courage dressed up as wisdom. And inside that false comfort, something ancient and sacred inside you begins to die. The part of you that wanted to build, to create, to reach beyond your grasp. It withers, it calcifies. It becomes a ghost you can feel but can no longer name. And the worst part is this: the walls that protect you from pain also protect you from joy. The shell that guards you against failure also guards you against becoming. Safety is a coffin if you stay inside it too long. The world outside your comfort was never promised to be safe. It was only ever promised to be real. Sartre believed that authentic life begins only when you face this terror, when you accept that security is a lie, that there are no guarantees, that the only safety you will ever have is the integrity of your own becoming. You will suffer outside the comfort prison. You will fail. You will lose. You will bleed. But you will also breathe. You will also live. You will also become someone you have never dared to imagine. The comfortable prison asks for everything and gives nothing. The wild unknown asks for everything and offers everything in return. You can stay. You are free to stay. But know this: every day you stay silent, unmoving, unseen, another part of you crumbles into dust. Another future dies unborn. Another dream starves itself quietly in the dark. The longer you wait, the less there will be left to save. The walls are not getting higher. You are getting smaller. And someday, if you are not careful, you will vanish entirely, still clutching the keys you were too afraid to use. There is a kind of fear so deep that it hides even from your own eyes. A fear so absolute, so suffocating, that you call it by 1,000 other names just to avoid speaking its true one. It is not the fear of failure. It is not the fear of judgment. It is not even the fear of death. It is the fear of freedom. Jean-Paul Sartre called it the ultimate burden of human existence. Man is condemned to be free. Condemned, not gifted, not blessed. Condemned. Because freedom means that there is no grand design to save you, no destiny etched in the stars to fall back on, no fate you can blame when your life falls apart. Freedom means there is only you, your decisions, your consequences, your silence, your betrayals, your triumphs. No one is coming to decide for you. No one is coming to tell you what you are meant to be. No one will come to redeem the years you spent waiting. You carry it all. The unbearable lightness of pure, terrible agency. And it is easier, far easier, to pretend you are trapped than to face that truth. It is easier to believe you are waiting for something outside yourself than to admit that you are paralyzed by the terror of choosing. Because when you choose, you kill all the lives you might have lived. Every decision is a small death of infinite possibilities. Every action is a narrowing, a brutal slicing away of who you might have been. Freedom is a blade, and to live authentically is to wield it with trembling hands. No one tells you this when you are young. They tell you that freedom is sweet. They tell you that freedom is joy. But Sartre saw deeper. Freedom is nausea. Freedom is standing naked in the howling winds of a meaningless universe and still choosing to raise your own flag against the void. Most people run from that place. Most people build religions of certainty, governments of obedience, cultures of distraction, anything to avoid the raw, awful responsibility of self-creation. But if you are listening now, it is because some part of you is done running. Some part of you is tired of pretending you are trapped. Some part of you is ready to face the abyss and walk through it. The terror you feel when you think about making a choice without guarantees is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that you are finally waking up. You were never waiting for the right moment. You were waiting for the fear to go away. And it won't. It will be with you always. It will walk beside you into every new beginning. It will whisper doubts in your ear as you raise the hammer to shape your life. And still, you must move. Freedom is the wound that never heals. It is the burden you cannot set down. It is the terrifying, sacred birthright you cannot escape. To be human is to be free, and to be free is to be afraid. And yet, you must choose, because in the end, even refusing to choose is a choice. Even staying silent is a statement. Even standing still is a direction. There is no way to escape the responsibility. There is only the question, will you choose your life, or will you let fear choose it for you? There is a moment when the cell door swings open, and you realize no one is guarding it. No jailer, no executioner, no cosmic judge waiting to tell you if you're worthy. Just you, your trembling hands, your racing heart, and the world outside, vast and waiting. The chains were never forged by fate. The walls were never built by destiny. They were spun from fear and fastened by waiting. You have lived your whole life believing that someone would come to tell you when it was safe to begin. You waited for a sign. You waited for clarity. You waited for the fear to go away. But the fear is not a flaw to eliminate. It is a signal that you are standing at the threshold of becoming. Jean-Paul Sartre taught that freedom was not found by asking for permission. Freedom begins when you stop waiting altogether. You must choose. Without the world's blessing, without proof, you will succeed. Without a guarantee, you are right. You must choose anyway, because the choice itself is what creates you. It is the hammer that shapes the molten metal of your existence. Waiting will not save you. Waiting will not prepare you. Waiting will not purify you of your fear. Only action will. Action is the holy ground where freedom becomes real. It is only by stepping forward, trembling, doubting, daring, that you carve a path into the formless unknown. And it is terrifying. It will always be terrifying. You will feel the nausea Sartre spoke of. You will feel the agony of killing the endless other selves you might have been. But you will also feel something else. Something colder, harder, sharper. You will feel real, not an idea, not a hope, not a plan, a living, breathing, choosing being. Every small act of decision breaks another link in the chain. Every imperfect move towards the life you want cracks the walls a little wider. Every imperfect, trembling step is an act of revolution against the prison you once called safety. You will fail. You will fall. You will doubt yourself. Good. It means you are alive. It means you are no longer asleep inside the cell of waiting. There is no other way. There is no shortcut. You cannot think your way into freedom. You must move. You must choose. Even when the fear howls louder than your courage. Even when your legs shake. Even when every story you were ever told about needing permission clutches at your ankles like chains. Break them. Choose. Move. Fall if you must. Crawl if you must. But do not wait. Because the life you want is not behind some guarded gate. It is not locked away by some ancient curse. It is just on the other side of your fear. And it is waiting for you to stop asking and start becoming. When you break free, there is no map waiting for you. No path lined with golden markers. No voice booming from the heavens to tell you what to do next. There is only an open plain, an endless, aching vastness, and your own two trembling hands. Freedom is not a destination. It is a blank canvas. It is an empty field. And you are the architect. Jean-Paul Sartre taught that meaning is not discovered. It is not lurking under a rock, waiting to be uncovered like some hidden artifact. Meaning must be built moment by moment, decision by decision, action by sacred action. You must be willing to build without blueprints, to craft a life without guarantees, to create beauty knowing it might crumble, to plant seeds knowing they might never bloom. You must be willing to spend your days laying bricks in the cathedral of your own becoming, even if you never see the tower finished. Because in every brick laid with intention, every trembling decision made in the face of uncertainty, you become real. Your life will not look like anyone else's. It is not supposed to. You were not sent here to be a copy. You were not sent here to fit inside someone else's story. You are here to carve your own, and it will be messy, and it will be terrifying, and it will be heartbreakingly beautiful. You will build things that collapse. You will chase dreams that dissolve. You will love things that shatter in your hands. And still, you must keep building, because the meaning is not in the perfection of what you create. It is in the courage it takes to create at all. Sartre believed that authenticity, true being, comes only when you recognize that there is no meaning but the one you dare to make. And so, you must dare. You must build your life as a blacksmith builds a sword, hammering it against the anvil of failure, heating it in the fires of fear, folding it again and again through the endless forging of choice. Every choice you make, even the wrong ones, is a line in the poem of your existence. Every risk you take is a note in the music of your becoming. Every act of courage, no matter how small, is a star in the constellation of the life only you can create. You do not need a map. You do not need permission. You do not need to wait for someone to show you the way. You are the way. You are the builder, the maker, the architect. The world will try to tell you that meaning is found in achieving, in winning, in reaching some glittering mountaintop. But meaning is not at the top of a summit. Meaning is in the blood on your hands from building the ladder yourself. Meaning is in the mud on your boots from walking paths no one dared to walk before. Meaning is in the bruises you earn, the failures you suffer, the dreams you dare to pursue even when they terrify you. Meaning is in the life you shape with your own two hands, trembling, imperfect, defiant, sacred. The field is vast. The tools are crude. The sky is endless. Begin anyway. Build badly at first. Lay crooked stones. Plant seeds with shaking fingers. It does not matter how small you start. It only matters that you begin, because you were not made to sit inside a prison of hesitation. You were not made to haunt the corridors of almost and someday. You were made to build. You were made to carve your existence into the raw stone of the world. You were made to forge meaning from the chaos. And only you can do it. Look around you now. The chains that once strangled your wrists lie shattered at your feet. The cell door stands open, swinging in the morning wind. The sky you once believed was a ceiling was only ever a sky. The walls you once pressed your hands against were made of your own fear, and you are standing here, alive, breathing, holding the raw, sacred weight of your own freedom. It is heavier than you imagined. It is lonelier than you dreamed. It is more terrifying than you were warned. But it is yours. Jean-Paul Sartre saw this moment for what it was, the moment when a human being stops asking for meaning and starts creating it. You are no longer a hostage. You are a builder. You are no longer a prisoner. You are an architect of your own existence. And yes, you will tremble. You will doubt. You will fail. You will lose faith. And still you must build. You must forge meaning from the silence. You must plant gardens in the wilderness. You must shape a life that bears the fingerprints of your own soul. Not because it is safe, not because it is easy, but because it is yours. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are no longer waiting for clarity. You are no longer waiting for the fear to go away. The fear will always walk beside you, but it no longer holds the leash. You have torn the leash from its hands. You have broken the chains with your choosing, and now you must walk into the field, into the unknown, into the sacred terror of your own freedom. The life you were waiting for was never locked behind a door. It was waiting inside you, beneath the layers of hesitation, of caution, of self-protection. It was breathing there, quietly, fiercely, all along. You are not a victim of fate. You are not a mistake. You are not lost. You are already free. You were free the moment you stopped asking. You were free the moment you dared to move. You were free the moment you chose yourself. And so now, you step forward, not because you know the way, not because you are ready, not because you are certain, but because you are alive, and the door has always been open.